Hi, welcome back. This is Rhonda, and today I have a guest in my kitchen, my husband, and he's going to be making fudge. Now, the reason I don't make fudge, I have tried it before, but if you've watched my other videos, you know I'm not the fastest person in the world. So, in order to make the fudge, it's all about timing, and you have to be a little bit on the quicker side. So this is my husband, Derek.
Hi. I'm Derek, a little taller than Rhonda. Anyways, as you can see, she's been busy in the kitchen already this morning. Probably not doing the great job like she does when she does her camera work. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to get this casserole dish here all buttered up because we're going to be putting our fudge in. You don't want the fudge sticking. One of the main ingredients of fudge is the butter, so we got to put lots of butter on this thing, keep it from sticking. So over the years, we've figured out the best and easiest way to butter things is just taking a chunk of the butter and put it in. Okay, now we're going to talk about some butter here. Okay, so different brands have different ways of setting their butter up. Okay, so this is, oops, turn it over this way so we can read this thing here. Anyways, this one here is a Tillamook or whatever it is, and it has, each of them are half cup sticks, but as they also, you can also see right there, they show you the 2/3 or 1/3 cup also on the thing. Rhonda's already been showing you the other one that has the 8 tablespoons. But anyway, so we need to have, in this recipe, calls for 3 sticks of butter for double recipe, so it's 3/4 equals 1.5. And as you can see, again, I've got it upside down, so you can see, so each stick is a half cup. So easy on the math. So you got 3/4. If you look at it like money, so you got 3/4 of change, and 3/4 of change is $1.50. The recipe calls for 3 cups of sugar. So we're doubling the recipe, so that's going to be 6 cups. So just like Rhonda does, we count them out. So there's 1, that's 2, three, whoops. Well, there's a 1/4 cup on the countertop. Let's go ahead and, that looks like about how much is on the countertop. Four. Five. 6. Okay. Next ingredient is evaporative milk. The evaporative milk is calling for 2/3 of a cup. Okay. I go ahead and I use a whole can for doubling the recipe. So it's a hair more than the 2/3 of a cup. So you can see on the can right here it says 12 servings, 2 tablespoons, and all this kind of stuff here. But if you go ahead and you look at the front over here, you look at the fluid ounces. So a cup's 8 ounces, so we're going ahead and giving just a hair more. We've got the butter, 3 sticks of butter, the 6 cups of sugar, and the 12-ounce can of evaporative milk. You just start going ahead and using the liquids that you have in the pot, just kind of stir it around. Start getting these clumps off the bottom, like you see right there. Just kind of fold it off. I've found over the years, I've been using these wooden spoons that have kind of a flat edge on them, but they also got a rounded edge in the front right here, and that kind of gets you back where you can get underneath the edges here when you start stirring this stuff, because you don't want to be scorching and burning it. But it'll go ahead and scrape the bottom enough, but it'll also go ahead and keep you where you can clean stuff off it pretty quick. But we'll go ahead and let this start heating up, and I'll get back with you in a second. Okay, as you can see right now, the butter's starting to melt a little bit. While we're waiting for it, I've got this thing on about little higher than medium on this dual burner. So if you have a range top that has like a set numbers on it, it'll probably be around a 7 or 8, maybe somewhere in there. But while we're waiting, I'm going to show you a couple quick kitchen hacks that Rhonda came up with over the years. One of them is this thing here. This is a windshield for a camping stove, and comes down real easy and stuff. But what it does is it keeps, when you're cooking, all your spices don't get splattered all over. It makes cleaning the kitchen a whole lot easier. So that's one of the things we got here. So I want to talk about the thermometer for a minute. Thermometer is one of these old school thermometers with the little bulb thing on the bottom. I got this thing set to where it's just about a 1/4 inch off the bottom of the pot right here. You don't want it touching the bottom of the pot. You want it a little bit up above, about, yay far off the bottom. Because if it's touching the bottom, it'll go ahead and give you a false reading. You're not going to know exactly what you got going on. But anyways, then let's go back over to the next thing she's got going on here. So one of the things, we had a dishwasher that went bad on us a couple of years ago. And instead of going ahead and throwing the whole entire dishwasher apart, we kept the racks out of the dishwasher. And they make really, really good dry racks for your stuff. So they have those little dinky things they sell in the store. These racks right here, you can take one of the great big tall cutting boards that Rhonda's got and stand them up on there, and they don't tip over on you. And they're good and stout, because they're made to hold dishes. So don't throw your racks out. She tried it one time for a Thanksgiving dinner when we had a bunch of folks over, and it's been working well ever since. All right, so one of the things I like going ahead and doing as I'm cooking this fudge, because you got to do a lot of stirring, is I set all my ingredients out ahead of time, just like we just buttered the pan over there, the glass pan. I got everything all set out and ready to go, so I'm not having to worry about it. So I got some things over here starting to boil, so I need to get with it with some stirring. All right, so now we're starting to boil. You can see right here we got a boil going on. Anyway, so we'll set the clock. So 5 minutes from now, we're going to be going ahead and looking at that thermometer real close. So you can see that here's the type of I just kind of go back and forth and catch all the corners and then work the middle across and just keep doing that. And you don't have to go real fast. In fact, if you do, I think you'd be splattering yourself. You just got to go in a methodical fashion and keep on going back and forth and catching all the edges of the pan. Okay, as you can see, I'm still doing the same methodical scraping the pot, stirring. So now we're a couple, a minute or two, Rhonda? What do we got going on there? We started at 4 after.
It's been 3 minutes.
It's been 3 minutes? Okay, so we're, I'm going to think I may just let this camera run so you can kind of see how things are going to start going. So what we're going to start seeing is we're going to see some little bits of amber color little pieces kind of come up to the surface here. And that means we're getting closer. Something else I want to back up. I threw some sugar in here. When you're making fudge, you only want to use pure cane sugar. If you're making most things, you want to only make pure cane sugar. Anything that's got to be boiled or melted or anything like that. If you want gritty fudge that's crunchy, go ahead and use the beet sugar. But I would suggest going ahead and, it doesn't matter what brand. There's been one brand that's been around for probably 100 years that I use, and Rhonda and I use, but use pure cane sugar. That's the biggest failure I've seen in people making fudge is that. Another thing is to go ahead and they try to put the heat up too high. If you go ahead and you keep the heat down there at like 7 to 8, depending on your range, you can see how this thing's boiling. That's the speed of boiling you want. You don't want a rolling boil. You just want a methodical boil. If you go too fast, you're going to scorch the bottom and you're going to have some interesting texture to your fudge. And it might not even taste so well either. It depends if you burned it or not. And then if you run too low, it's not going to set up, so you're not going to have nice creamy fudge. you're going to have just kind of melted chocolate is all you're going to end up with. So this kind of a boil like this, like a bubbly boil, just a roll. It's not a rolling boil. And as you can see, we're starting to get a little bit of that amber color I was talking about. It's all through the liquid now. Starting to come up a little more amber. And we'll just let this thing start going the way it is. What are we looking at for time, Rhonda? All right, so Rhonda says it's just been 5 minutes. Now we're looking at here. We're looking at it says softball right there. We're not at softball yet, and that's what you want this thing at. So, like I said, just methodical stirring, not real fast. I generally when I'm making fudge, I got. You saw my glasses earlier. I definitely would suggest if you do not wear glasses to go ahead and have some glasses to put on. If this stuff splatters and gets you in the eye, it'll hurt bad, even on your eyelids and things like that. And then sometimes I go ahead and I don't wear the nitro gloves. But even having the nitro gloves, if something splatters up and hits me, it's like right there, it just hit me. It's not bothering me whatsoever. So just a couple things there, and you can do it without having those things, but it's a lot nicer when you do. And then the other thing is today I'm not having the problems, but you don't want little children, you don't want pets underneath when you're making something like this, or frying, or doing sauteing and stuff. You want to keep them out from underfoot, because you don't want something going ahead and coming over on them and hitting them, hurting them too. And let's see, we're not quite to soft boil yet. Go ahead and bump this heat up just a scotch. It's been a year since I made the fudge last. Like a lot of our stuff, we do it seasonally. And you go ahead and anyways, so it's over the 5 minutes that fudge normally talks about having. We live at a higher altitude, and when you live at a higher altitude, so if you're at sea level right now, you'd probably be going ahead and going to the next steps on this fudge. But we're not getting that kind of temperature because of the high altitude. So it takes just a little scotch longer, Let's see here, we're almost at soft. We're just like a hair below soft boil. You can see, like right now, you can see some of these little tiny things right here. Every once in a while, they're showing up here of the amber little pieces, kind of like light brown, kind of tan color pieces that are coming up. That's normal. That's what you're looking for. But you got to keep on stirring and stirring and stirring. That's the main thing on this thing. But not too fast, just to keep the bottom and keep a methodical thing. So round your edges, both directions, and then across the middle. And then around the edges and across the middle. Alright, let's see what this thing looks like now. Okay, we're still just a scotch below. I'll bump that heat just a hair more, get it up to about 8. You start seeing these little brown speckles of stuff coming up now. That's what I'm looking for. So now we're probably looking at what, Rhonda, probably about 7 minutes?
It's been 8 minutes.
8 minutes now? Okay. Alright, so like I said, sea level, 5 minutes. Up in our altitude, 8 minutes. If you're higher in elevation, you might need to go longer. Okay, so we're looking at soft boil right now. So we're going to pull this stuff off the heat here. And then we're going to start doing the next step. Thermometer out of there. And then I'm going to go ahead and turn this heat back off. And so the next thing we're going to go ahead and start putting in there is we're going to start putting in the... You get the camera moving over? Okay. We'll start going ahead and putting in the dark chocolate chips. Used a lot of different brands over the years. And this is our favorite. And you just kind of don't put them all in one big old thing because it makes it easier to stir it in when you have them stirred all over the place. Alright, so we got the dark chocolate chips in there. You just start going ahead, same thing, just stir methodically. Don't get going too fast because you don't want to be splattering yourself yet. You just got to be consistent. You get that all stirred in there real quick. Okay, and this is why you want, right in here you can see how This spoon is, you probably not see it on camera, but this spoon is actually to the point of actually kind of flexing right now. And then scrape the sides a little bit and bring that goodness down into the pot. And then, once we get to this point right here, we get a little extra stir right quick here. That other liquids that I just brought down in there. Okay, now, like Rhonda was saying earlier, my grandmother didn't ever use measuring things because she just kind of knew what things looked like. So it's calling for a teaspoon, double batch is 2 teaspoons. So I'm just going to go ahead and just give it an eyeball. So we got probably a little over a tablespoon and a half just now of some vanilla. And then we just go ahead and stir that in real quick. Now this one you can start stirring a little quicker because you're not going to have the chances of splattering so much anymore. But you want to make sure you get the bottom of the pot done. Now the next thing we're going to have is we got 2, what are these, heck these things are, 7-ounce containers of marshmallow cream. So we'll get those 2 containers of marshmallow cream in there. Yeah, I'll use this thing here, I guess, to push that off there. Now I've had marshmallow cream where you see like a little bit of a liquid, almost looks like some corn syrup or something like that that's kind of separating back out. If you got that in your marshmallow cream, because it's real close to expiration date on it, don't sweat it. I've never had fudge come out bad when it was like that. I've never done it where it's really separated. We've always gone ahead and not done it. But if you get a little bit of it, you know, a tablespoon or so of some stuff that looks like it's separating, don't worry about it. That'll work just fine. Okay. So get that one scraped down clean. Then we get another one. Get it going in here. Okay. Okay, getting close here now. Scrape this thing down the bottom. Okay, got everything, all the goodness in here now. Scrape the spoon a little bit. We'll start stirring this stuff in. All right, throw that to the side. We just kind of fold this in, almost like you do an egg whites a little bit. And just keep working on folding it in. I don't know if you guys have ever made waffles or not, but they'll tell you how to fold your egg whites in. This is kind of the same thing. But this one here, once we get it kind of folded in, I got those big old chunks that I got out with a spoon, trying to break those up and fold them into the thing. Yep. Now you burn your phone. Pick your phone up quickly. Yep, we just had a mishap in filming. We're going to probably leave that blooper in there because that's what Rhonda's been having me do. I do a lot of her editing for her, but I do it the way she wants it. All right, so we just had the phone hit literally the hot burner. There's a mark on the burner right now. So,
luckily, I have a good case.
Luckily, she's quick at the fingers and grabbed it back up before she burned her fingers, too. Alrighty, so same thing here like we did before. We're going to grab some of the stuff along the side. I don't get too particular with the stuff up on the sides at this point right here because it all tastes good. I'm looking more at what the fudge itself looks like. As you can see, I'm stirring along here. I see a little thing right over here. See how that came up there? I had one kind of little chunk of that marshmallow cream that was hiding off the side. So as you're stirring, you want to kind of look at those things there. Again, you stir your corners down, stir your middle out, and then we're going to go to the next step. We're going to go over and take this real quick here. Rhonda's going to chase me with the camera. Get over here, and you start going ahead and putting this in here. And what I do is I kind of start wiping the pot from the top down and let gravity work for me. And then just move the fudge out a little ways away. I let gravity kind of work. I will scrape my pot from the top down and then work my, as you can see, I'm kind of going across. All right, so looks like we got most of it coming out of there. And if you suddenly you get a little spot here or there right now that has some marshmallow cream in it, then just go ahead and just stir it around just like we were doing on the range top over there. It's not going to hurt it to go ahead and stir it in later on. Just try to get it to where it's blended in as much of the area as possible. So you just kind of push this stuff around until you get it to where it's looking kind of good. And then you can kind of do one of these things like this, whatever you want to do, you know, where you get some little streaks in the fudge thing. That's a lot of the fudge shops do, so I've done that for years. Don't know why, but so that's what we got so far. We're gonna go ahead and shut you off here and get back with you in just a little bit. I'm probably gonna let Rhonda go ahead and do your taste testing for her, and then. But so I appreciate you guys all subscribing to Rhonda's channel. Having a great time going ahead, and she's absolutely loving going ahead and doing the filming for you and showing you a lot of her recipes that she's collected over the years. And really appreciate everything, and thanks for watching. And like I said, she's going to go do a taste test here in a little bit when this stuff cools down, but it's going to take a while to cool down, so we'll get back to it.
So it takes a while for that fudge to set up, but I'll show you my favorite part. Notice. I like to eat the fudge warm. That's my favorite way to eat fudge. We will be back with the fudge that's actually done, and I'll taste test that. Fudge is not set up yet, but I've always wanted to do this, so I thought, hey, I'll do it on camera first. I have a peppermint stick cookie, and I just put some of the hot fudge on the peppermint stick cookie. Now that's the best. We'll be back shortly with the fudge that's actually set up. I'm going to finish this cookie. This is really good with hot fudge on top.
Real quick tutorial here. So sharp knives are safe knives. So it doesn't take long to go ahead and get your knives back to being razor sharp if you go ahead and you maintain them. So I just wanted to show you how easy it was to go ahead and get a knife back to sharp.
Okay, so it's not completely set up, but it's really close. It probably needs a little bit longer to be set up, and you definitely would want to have the fudge set up longer before you would package it and give it away to your friends or whatever. So I'm going to taste some of this fudge. I guarantee if you make this fudge, it's going to put a smile on your face. It's very delicious. Very, very delicious. I like to have some with a cup of coffee. Very good. And I want to show you what we had left over. We scraped the whole bowl, and we got this much. So this is good for if you want to put something on ice cream or just take some of this and just eat it plain. But that's a lot of fudge, so usually that gets all eaten before the night's out for sure. So thank you for watching this video. Thank you, Derek, for being my guest cook on the show. And thank you for those that are subscribing. If you don't subscribe, please subscribe to my channel. It is free. And like the video if you enjoyed this. And I hope this inspires you to make some fudge. And it's a wonderful season to eat some fudge. And thank you for watching.